Antonio Stradivari is almost universally regarded as the best violin maker in all human history. Wow! What are the secrets behind these multi-million-dollar violins? And no, they're not covered in gold. Who was really the genius behind them? Welcome to episode 3 of Cremona's Golden Age, a series of videos where I explored what made Cremona the epicenter of violin making. In this episode, we will uncover the life, innovation, and the enduring mystery of Antonio Stradivari. Welcome to my channel. I am Melisma Violin, violinist and string instruments and bow specialist. Here, we dive deep into all things string instruments and bows. From luthier pro tips to bow makers, violin auctions, instrument market trends, and how to truly understand the tools behind your sound. If that's something you're interested about, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next videos. In the previous videos of Cremona's Golden Age series, we met Andrea Amati, the inventor of the modern violin. And in episode 2, we explored how the Amati name became a grand dynasty and how Andrea's grandson, Niccolo Amati, became the best maker of all 3 generations. So if you're interested in knowing a bit more about Cremona's history, why it's so special and important even 400 years later, I invite you to watch episode 1 and 2 of this series. It's linked in the description below. Episode 3 is the story of Stradivari. In this video, we will trace his story from his humble beginnings in Cremona, all the key phases in his 70-year career, from his early Amati-influenced instruments to his bold long pattern experiments, and to the golden masterpieces that made his name immortal. I will also share some personal experiences hearing the Dolphin Stradivari and what it felt like to personally play 2 Stradivari violins. So let's dive into why Stradivarius instruments keep captivating musicians, scientists, philanthropists, and collectors all over the world. But right before that, I have some important info I want to share with you. If you're a musician looking to buy a new instrument or bow, or a classical music enthusiast, or philanthropist looking to make a solid investment, you're in the right place. As a string instruments and bow specialist, I have over a decade working in the field of lutherie, restoration, and musical instrument market, approaching everything from the point of view of a violinist and teacher. And now I am offering all my knowledge into an online service for personalized consultations to help you make the most informed decision possible so you can make a choice that protects your time and money. I've guided hundreds of musicians towards their ideal instrument that suit their budget and their artistic needs. Visit my website using the link in the description so we can start the process today. Now, let's talk about Antonio Stradivari. Early career and Amatisé period. The early life of Antonio Stradivari remains covered in mystery. No birth or baptism record have been found. And we don't know who formally taught him into the art of violin making. There is a single surviving violin that dates 1666 that says Alumnus Niccolai Amati. That translates into English, student of Niccolò Amati. There were huge speculations that Stradivari was apprentice of Niccolò Amati, but it's actually the only label of his kind. And no civic records place Stradivari studying under apprenticeship in Amati workshop, because in the 17th century, apprentices used to live and work in their teacher's house. So they were included in each census as a member of the household, but there were absolutely no records that show that Stradivari lived, worked, or learned directly from Niccolò Amati. But I imagine that he wrote this label because he was certainly influenced by Niccolò Amati's instruments, because when he was a young man, Niccolo was the best maker in Cremona and even the best maker in all Europe. Still today, his instruments are the most sought out of and the most expensive ones of all Amati dynasty. So you can't deny the influence in him. But we can't affirm that he was his student. Between 1666 and 1680, Stradivari made relatively few instruments. Some scholars believe he worked in another trade during this time, possibly as a wood carver. And that would make sense for him to evolve from a wood carver to become a violin maker and enhance his abilities. The instruments he produced in this period were known as the Amatisé instrument period, and they closely follow the Amati model. Smaller and more delicate in form, softly rounded arching, narrow boots, a warm golden varnish in different shades. Even though these early violins were beautiful, they do lack projection and the signature sound of later Stradivari violins. But even in these early precisions, you can start seeing very gifted handwork. And remember that in 17th century, there was no internet, no electric light, no fancy tools. It was all made 100% by hand, which makes things even more impressive. In the beginning of the 18th century, Antonio Stradivari started what we know as his golden period, a stretch of roughly 20 years in which he produced the most iconic and sought-after instruments. The golden period, 1700 to 1720. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a free way for you to support my work. During this time, Stradivari perfected a new form of instruments with an overall structure that gave them much more projection, clarity, and tonal depth. Many of the instruments created during this time are considered international treasures, the most expensive instruments in the world. Some of them are the Messiah violin from 1716. I actually have it tattooed on my foot. You can see it on screen. It's untouched, nearly pristine condition. You look at it and it seems almost new. It's in the Osmolean Museum in Oxford. It's often considered as the best conditioned Strad that exists nowadays. It's not for sale, so you don't have an official price range, but it can cost easily more than $30 million. Then you have the Lady Blunt, 1721. Exceptionally well preserved, and it hit a world record for the highest auction price for a violin in 2011, sold by Tarisio auctions for $15.9 million. The Soil of 1714, once owned by Yehudi Menuhin and later played by Isaac Perman, known for his bold, rich sound and immense projection. The Dolphin, named for the wave-like flame on his backplate. It was once owned by the great Joshua Heifetz and is now played by Ray Chen. I had the chance to hear this violin live just a couple of days ago. This video is being recorded on July 22 and the concert was July 20 of 2025.
Woohoo! We love you, Ray!
Love you too! Thank you!
Where Ray Chen performed Mendelssohn Violin Concerto in Carnegie Hall with the National Youth Orchestra of United States. It was astonishing. I was sitting so high up, I was almost in the ceiling. But yet I could hear the violin so clearly. The projection is amazing, the overtones, the quality of all four strings. It is something that you can't precisely describe with words. It's more like a feeling. I really enjoyed hearing this historical violin in action. Also, last year, I had the rare privilege of playing 2 original Stradivari violins in Tarisio. I can't show you photos or videos because those images are restricted for online use. The head of Tarisio, Carlos Tome, let me play with those violins for an entire afternoon. It was truly a life-changing experience for someone like me that's violinist and has been in this business for so many years. I got to explore all their dynamic reach, from the most pianissimo I could play to the most forte with several bows. It was mind-blowing. And when you have these kind of instruments in your hand, you understand that there is something truly mystical and magical around them. And I have also played Amati and Guarneri, and personally, the Strads were the best. Even though I haven't played Guarneri del Gesù, that they say that some Guarneri del Gesù are the same quality in sound as Antonio Stradivari. I will have to update you guys later if I get a chance to try a Guarneria El Gesù and a Stradivari together. What do you think? Do you think that would be possible? And after playing these two Strads, the only thing I could think about was, thank you, Antonio Stradivari, for leaving humankind this amazing legacy. Those instruments are truly work of a genius. So while the golden period was the highest part of Stradivari's career, he had also other two important chapters in his life. His long pattern period in the 1690s, right before the golden period, when he was really experimenting and changing the violin shape. And his late period, which began around 1720 and continued until his death at 1737 at the age of 93 years old. And for that time, it was extremely rare for someone to age that much. He continued working until he died, which is impressive and amazing. During those last years, he was remarkably active in his workshop, but he did receive lots of help from his sons, Francesco and Omobono. Now, let's get a better look at today's prices and the efforts that people have made to try to understand and replicate the Stradivari instruments. So after hearing my experience, I would love to read you in the comments. Have you ever heard a Stradivari violin played live? What do you think? Have you ever played a Stradivari violin? Please let me know in the comments. I'll be reading and answering each one of you. The Stradivari Enigma. We know by this point that Stradivari violins sell in millions of dollars. But why is it more expensive than all the other instruments made in Cremona during that time frame that can also be very excellent instruments? I will tell you something. It's not just about the sound. It's about culture, art, and history. You can compare this with owning a Da Vinci. I believe we have an obligation to preserving the legacy of great geniuses have left behind for humankind. And for over a century, there has been numerous tests made by scientists and luthiers on the Stradivari violins to try to understand what makes these instruments so extraordinary. They have been X-rayed, CT scanned, analyzed with dendrochronological and electron microscopes. Researchers have studied everything: the density of the wood, the chemical compositions of the varnish, and there's even theories about treatments applied to the wood. And yet no one has fully cracked the Stradivari code. And what do you think? Do you think it's worth the hype, worth the money? But Cremona didn't stop with Stradivari. The next episode, we will meet the Guarneri dynasty, another legendary dynasty of violin makers and luthiers who brought a darker and bolder voice to the violin, and that many say that they're better than Strads. I truly hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned a lot of Antonio Stradivari's history. If you want to learn a bit more about your own instrument, check out this video where I explain what exactly is an instrument setup. Thank you very much for being here and see you in the next episode. Bye!